All right, fam, we are about to get into it. We are about to can ground sausage. I use this in so many recipes, so many soups, stews, breakfasts, lunch, dinner. We get down with some pork in this house. So we are gonna can this, get it on our shelves for long-term storage. I'm excited to do this. If you have wanted to know about canning, wanted to see how I do this, please stay tuned. Okay, welcome back, you guys. So today we are going to be getting into canning ground sausage. Absolutely love ground sausage. Think it's delicious, and I use it on a lot of things. So I wanted to make sure that I get this on my long-term storage shelves. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna have to cook off this sausage. So for canning, there is a thing called hot packing or raw packing, and all that is when the meat goes in the jar. Is it cooked first or is it going in raw? Now, for anything that is ground, they want you to make sure that it's hot packed. So what we're gonna do today is we are just going to go ahead and start putting this into the pans there and getting it cooked off. I wanna remind you today that if you wanna receive more information about prepping, getting your family ready for prepping, or food preservation in general, you're gonna wanna make sure that you hit that subscription button below, and let's get started. I'll do a couple of these for you and then I'll bring you guys back. So I basically, 1 pound of meat fits into a pint-sized jar. So we're going to be doing pint-sized jars today. You'll also see that I did have two packets in my sausage that is hot. So I just wanted a little bit of a kick, nothing major, because once the 2 packages are cooked within the other 10 packets, you're really not going to taste it that much. And like I was saying before, I love having meat canned and on the shelf. I'm just a huge fan of long-term storage in general, but our family does eat a lot of meat, and that's my concern later is when the supply chain does stop. What's our ability to get meat? You know, are we able to get it? Are we not able to get it? And pressure canning is a way to maintain your meat, get your meat on your shelf that will last for years and years. And so I absolutely love it. All right, you guys, I'm gonna do the rest of these and then I'll bring you back in a little bit. All right, you guys, welcome back. So we are at the point where our meat is browned. It is not crispy, okay? But there's no more raw chunks in there. It's okay if you have some that is pink, that's fine. But there's no need to, you know, cook it until it's dead, basically, okay? We're gonna pressure can it. All right, so before you get started on any time that you're gonna be canning, obviously you're gonna get all your stuff together, okay? So today we're doing pint jars. I like to wash and sanitize mine in the dishwasher. You can do it any way you want. Some folks actually put their jars in the oven and warm and sanitize them that way. That is perfectly fine. And then of course I have my lids and my bands set to the side here that I'm gonna be topping them off with, okay? Additionally, the things that I'm gonna be using, obviously the canner, I have the Tefal 22 quart. You're gonna need your handy jar lifter. You're gonna need your little magnet lid lifter. This isn't necessary, it's just, especially if you're the type that still has your lids where they're kind of hot, this is just an easy way to grab them, but not necessary. You're gonna have your little bit of white vinegar set to the side for when we clean. You're gonna wanna have some kind of tool to push down the ingredients. This is my little helper. I like this, but for ground beef or meat, we're doing sausage today, I like to just take a smaller cup. This one's the 1/4 a cup, and you're gonna see how I'm gonna use that to actually pack that meat in when it gets towards the top. But until it does, I use this to get it down to the bottom. Additionally, you're just gonna wanna have some sort of scooper in your meat to help scoop your meat out as well. Spoons aren't always the best. You're gonna want something that really has a good scoop on it. Okay, so without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and fill a few jars so you guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna move some of this stuff out of the way so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna start with these 3. So I'm just gonna take my funnel like that, and I'm gonna just go ahead and put my meat. Now these jars should fit about a pound of this sausage in them, okay? So you see, now again, when it's any kind of meat, I really try to maximize touching the rim at all, okay? And so this one can fit a little bit more. We're looking for that 1-inch head space, kind of like we did in the beef stew video, okay? I'm gonna say that one's good for now, okay? And I'm gonna move to this other one. Now, when I cook the meat too, you're gonna see some of this is gonna be more juicy than others because I did not drain it, okay? I want the fat in there. I don't want to take away from the fat, because when I break these jars open later and I'm using them to actually cook, I want there to be some kind of fat content that will help flavor the, whatever it is that I'm trying to use it for, okay? Okay, you guys, gonna go ahead and move on to this other one. So you see that one was pretty juicy. Okay, use your little helper. Okay, we're gonna keep going. We got a little bit more space. And if you need to break up your meat a little bit, some of them are bigger, but again, it's kind of up to your preference, you know? If you like some bigger chunks, you don't like it all small, that really just depends on what you want, what you use it for, okay? All right, you guys, so I'm going to just take this little thing and I'm just gonna push down a little bit. To me, having something smaller like this is helpful because I don't have to touch the rim of my jar. And it's a pretty good packer. So you see, I have a little bit more, not too much, but I'm just gonna, I like to maximize because when they cook down, there is gonna be some, some space. Okay, go ahead. Okay, that one's kind of full. I still want a little bit more, you guys, in this one over here. I don't know why it's bothering me. There we go. Okay. All right, so that's all we do. Now, sometimes in different things that you're doing ground, like ground beef, I like to put a liquid in mine. Today, you're not doing any kind of liquid in this. You're just doing just the sausage itself. When it cooks down and starts cooking in that pressure canner, you're gonna see when it comes out, the liquid is gonna be all the fat that it's cooking in, okay? Now, this part is very, very important, okay? It's important in general, but it's very important when you're especially working with meat or anything that's fatty. So you're going to take some vinegar and you're gonna just wipe the edges of your jars. And what you're doing is you are getting off any fat that might have gotten on that jar or anything that might have gotten on the jar with you, prepping and getting it ready, okay? But this is a super important step to not miss, okay? And then the next thing is you're gonna get your lids. You see, these ones aren't super hot, so I wasn't having to get the, okay. So you see, I just let it go and then a little bit more. So I'll show you again on this one. You're gonna tighten it till it pretty much stops, and then you're gonna give it another little light turn. So put it on, tighten it till it stops, and then a little bit more, okay? You don't want these to go on too tight, and you don't want them to go on too loose because the jar siphon. You want a little bit of air to get out of there for the process, but not too tight, okay? So these jars are done, you guys, and they're ready to go into the pressure canner. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill these other jars and then I'll bring you back, okay? Hey guys, welcome back. So the canner is closed, all our jars are in there. I ended up filling up 14 pint-sized jars. So 8 fit in the bottom. I put the tray in and then I put the remainder on top. What I wanted to share with you that I just realized I didn't before I closed my canner up was there are shelves that go with these canners, and the bottom shelf, you always want to make sure you're putting your jars on that shelf and not directly on the bottom of the canner. Additionally, if you end up having enough jars where you have to do 2 layers, 2 levels, you're going to make sure that you put another shelf on top of those jars that are at the bottom before you set other jars inside. So you're going to make sure that you're basically not setting jars on top of jars, okay? The canning systems come with those shelves that I'm talking about, okay? All right, so right now I've got my burner turned all the way up, and I am waiting for my canner to start steaming. So I've got my setting on steam, and I'm basically waiting for a steady stream to be coming out on a regular basis. And then once that it starts coming out, I'm gonna time it for 10 minutes. So once that times for 10 minutes, that means the pressure has come up. Now I'm gonna set my weight. Now, again, you're gonna do your own research for your canner because it depends on your elevation of where you live, and it also depends on your canner on the way that it works. My canner is a number system. So for my weight and my canner and where I live, it's setting 2, okay? So once I've got that steady stream for 10 minutes, I'm going to then set my canner to level 2, okay? And then essentially what I'm doing is I'm waiting for my canner to come to pressure for level 2, okay? And once it finally comes to pressure at level 2, I'm gonna turn down my burner. Now, I know where it needs to kind of go. For me, it's gonna be just under medium. But for you and your stove, you're gonna have to figure out where's the magic spot for you, okay? But essentially what you're doing is you're just turning down your heat, and you're watching your weight, your pressure, and you're just making sure that it's holding at what it's supposed to hold, okay? So mine was in section 2. I just need to make sure that it's holding. And if I see it start to go under 2, I'm gonna turn my burner up, okay? If I see it starting to go too high, it's still heating up, okay, then I'll turn my burner down, okay? So this is the time it's critical. You just be paying attention to your pressure. Now, what you're waiting for is your pressure to just hold, okay? Once it's holding, then you're gonna time it for 10 minutes. If it holds for 10 minutes, you're good to go. You're in there like swimwear. Then the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna set your timer for whatever the amount of time is for what you're canning. So today we're canning pint-sized jars, and we're doing ground sausage. And what I like to do is, so in my recipe box, I already have all the recommendations for the times for different things. I have it in here for if you're water bathing vegetables, if you're pressure canning, if you're doing meats, whatever it is you're doing. And so it clearly says ground pork. It says hot pack pints 75 minutes. So we'll go 75 minutes, and I will bring you back so you can see what this meat looks like when it comes out of this canner. It's gonna look delicious. All right, so I'll bring you back. All right, you guys, ground sausage is all done. See, it's still bubbling away. Still pretty hot. Got it 14 jars. You see some of them got that residue on there. Don't worry, that's not from them not sealing, but that is from the hard water that we have. So when I go to clean these, I'll try to get off as much as that. All it does is make your glass jars look dirty, disgusting on the outside. And you can actually fix that by putting vinegar in the water, which clearly I forgot to do. Ooh, you hear that popping. So you guys, after this, next thing is I'm just gonna leave these alone all night. I'm gonna leave these bands on, everything. In the morning when I wake up, I'll take the bands off. And then when I come back from work, they'll be all the way cool by then. I'll check the seal, make sure that they've all sealed. Whew, hot. And I will wash the jars, wash off as much gunk as I can, because we want to put away nice clean jars so that we don't have any contamination. That one just popped. Okay, and then once we do that and they've dried, we've washed them off and they dry off, then that's when I'll label the tops of them as well and get them put away. So thanks for going along with me. You guys take care. Bye. Bye.